For these examples, I'm just going to show you the first couple of them and show you the steps, and I want you guys to make sure that you do these on your own, okay? And you can follow the steps of the first examples here. So this improper fraction, I'm going to write it as a mixed number. So I'm going to divide the 10 into the 28. So we can see that there's two groups of 10 that fit into 28. So we end up with 2 wholes, and then we have 8 left over. So we end up with 8 1/10 pieces. Okay, if we were to draw this out, we would have 1/10 pieces. Okay, so we have 10 here. One, two, three. So we have 10 here, so 20, and then we'd end up with 8 extra pieces here. Okay, so we'd end up with 8 extra pieces in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have our full 20 plus 8, 2 and 8/10. Okay, we don't need to draw the pictures for all of these, but again, make sure you understand how we do this. Okay, so we have 14 1/8 pieces. So to make a 1 whole, I'm going to take 8 out, okay, to make my 1 whole, and I'm going to have 6 left over. Okay, so I end up with 6/8. I forgot about this one. We should really simplify this fraction into 2 and 4/5. In fact, this one as well. So why don't we first of all simplify this fraction? So divide by 2, the common factor of 2. So we end up with 7/4. And then we know that 4 goes into 7 once with 3 left over. So we get the 1 3/4. Okay, so that's how we can do improper to mixed numbers. Okay, complete the rest of these on your own. Make sure you simplify your fraction, your final answers for these. These are doing it the opposite way. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a mixed number and make it into an improper fraction. So I want to know how many 1/10 pieces are going to make up the 8 wholes. Well, I know that for every 1 whole, there's 10 pieces. So there's 10 groups of 8. So that gives me my 80 plus the 5 extra that are there. And that's going to, we're talking about 1/10 pieces. So we end up with 85 1/10 pieces. Okay. And again, we should simplify this. There's a common factor of 5, so we divide by 5. Okay, and so I'm going to end up with 17/2. And again, this one here, we probably could have simplified this fraction first to 1/2 before we did that. This one we know doesn't simplify because of that 13 is prime. But we have 3 groups of 20. Okay, so each whole has 20 pieces. So we're going to go 3 groups of 20. Okay, so 3 times 20. And then we're going to add on the 13 extras, and we're talking about 20th size piece fractions. So we end up with 60 plus 13/20, and that works out to be 73/20. These do not share any common factors, so there's my improper fraction. I just want to reiterate again that improper fractions are going to be more useful to us when we do calculations later on, because all there is times and divide here. Whereas with mixed numbers, there's that hidden plus in here, which can be a problem. Okay, it's not a problem if we know it's there and know how to deal with it. We have to be careful with these ones, so it's much easier to deal with an improper fraction.